we doing this week? We're reading together. We're reading this week. We kind of have a lot to get through. But the fun of it is that we get to start reading about the Second Amendment. Go crazy, go stupid. But I also have a lot to finish over here on my right, not your right, selfish, is what I wanted to read in January, but it's January 20th. So, we'll see. On my left is the things that I'm in the middle of and or want to read for the next week. It is Tuesday, January 20th, like I just said. Can I finish all of this? Probably not. Am I going to try? Am I going to attempt? Am I going to update you how many hours, how many pages I read per day? It doesn't meet my expectations, which I don't expect it to. Then I'll just feel crippling disappointment all week, and that'll be it. But let's go through what I have and what I want to finish. Okay, so I am in the middle of the bee sting. I'm not gonna lie, I'm finding this a little difficult to get through. It has nothing to do with the story and everything to do with the way that it's being told. What are some things that are making me not want to pick this up? The way that Imelda's sections are written with no punctuation whatsoever. Normally, I'm like fine with some liberties taken grammar wise in writing, depending on what they are. That's difficult to read because I read a lot of things before I go to bed, or when I'm feeling like more relaxed, more tired, etc. And this is extremely hard to like pay attention to and to decipher when I'm in that sort of mood. And she has a lot, so I haven't been reading as much of it. I'm on page 286. I'm on chapter 3. I guess of like part 2. I don't even remember how it's like set up. Of 643? 643. I also don't mind books that like get a little weird with it. Like I liked The Candy House, or what's the first one? A Visit from the Goon Squad. I liked A Visit from the Goon Squad. I thought The Candy House was fine. I read them backwards. Anyway, I probably would have liked them more if I read them the correct way. I don't know. This one's just like hard. Maybe that makes me dumb. That's fine. It happens to the best of us. And then the other one that I'm in the middle of, the other one that I'm also in the middle of, let's stay there, is Local Heavens by K.M. Fajardo or Fajardo. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm on page 205. This one's being read on my Kindle, so I read it as I'm falling asleep. It's fine. I don't feel like it's really grabbed my attention as much as like I feel like it should be, but I don't dislike it and I'm not gonna stop reading it. You know? So we're about halfway through that one. Oh, how many pages total are there? This book is so long. The Bee Sting is so long. I have like 300 pages left of the Bee Sting. More. I have like 350 pages left of the Bee Sting. 200 pages left of Local Heavens. And then I'm already feeling really, really ridiculous for the amount that I want to do. The third one that I want to completely finish is The Second Amendment, a biography by Michael Waldman, which I got from the library and which will be featured in my first like personal curriculum video, down the rabbit hole video, whatever I decided to call it. I'm gonna have to watch that video again. Oh my god, this looks dense. Well, that one has the best thing about a nonfiction is that the back like 20 to 30 pages are notes and index. So it always looks a lot longer than it actually is. 177 pages. And then, finally, I got this idea from the book bench, Nick. I don't know his last name, and I think he got it from somewhere else, but he made a whole video about it. I'll tag that and the video in this, where he, for the past 2 years, has been reading an entire author's work and I want to do that. And then also, Melissa, the post office girl, has recommended Shirley Jackson a few times. And so I picked up The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. I don't want to read this whole thing. I just maybe want to read a story or two. I guess I can read The Lottery. I've never read it before. I've never read that or another famous, I think it's horror story, Yellow Wallpaper, or The Yellow Wallpaper. I don't even know what it's called. First one in here is The Intoxicated. I might read the first two stories. 28 pages. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. And see where that gets me. I don't know, maybe I'll use this one as like palette cleanser. People have probably read Shirley Jackson and are like, she is not a palette cleanser. Tonight we're gonna wash our nails. We're gonna do our nails because look at that. I'm gonna make a grilled cheese and tomato soup. I'm gonna take an early shower, and then we're gonna get nice and cozy. And that's the plan for tonight. Okay, let's see what we can get done tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I don't actually know how many pages I read yesterday because I don't know where I started. Okay, so yesterday, I don't know if this is accurate. I think I read more than this. Of Local Heavens, I think I read 19 pages after I went to bed. And then The Bee Sting, I read a total of 7 pages, and then The Second Amendment by Michael Waldman, I read 27 pages, which totaled 53 pages for all of Tuesday. And then today, all I've read so far, well, I woke up and I couldn't sleep this morning. So I read 30 pages of Local Heavens on my Kindle. And then today after work, I read just the first story in The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. It was called The Intoxicated. It was fine. I don't really know what it was saying. I think I would give it like 2 stars. I got out. The reason I brought my tomato pen over here and my little stickies was so I could rate all of the short stories. I don't know if I'm just being dumb with that one or like what the vibe is, but I just like didn't really understand it. Call me crazy. It was about this girl that comes downstairs, and I also read it like before I took a nap, so maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough. But it's about this drunk guy that's at a party, and he goes into the kitchen, and the like host's daughter is in there, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Studying for Latin." And he wants to like for some reason feel like cooler and better than her, so he kind of like degrades her for the next 5 pages, but like indirectly and kind of passively. And then he leaves, and that's the story. I don't know if I'm missing something there. Maybe I am. I mean, it's probably very likely that I am. I don't think that I really fully understand Shirley Jackson yet. I know that she is a horror writer, but I don't know if she kind of also. Okay, yeah, I don't know like the full extent of her genres, I guess I should say. This says they demonstrate Jackson's remarkable range from the hilarious to the horrible, the unsettling to the ominous, and showcase a true master at the height of her haunting powers. I would say that the story was unsettling because you're having this grown ass man that like is talking to a teenager in a very demeaning, self-righteous way, and that felt uncomfortable. It's already 9:30, um, and I usually go to get in bed at 9. So for the rest of the night, I'm going to read my daily allotment of the Second Amendment. I've figured out I have to read 25 pages ish a day, in order to finish it in a week. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll probably get in bed and read Local Heavens on my Kindle until I fall asleep. Uh, so I think that's gonna be the rest of the night. Sorry there wasn't much of a vlog today. I have made a dinner that is not going to get me on Skinny Talk anytime soon, but I start my period soon, so voila. Good morning. It's 8:15 in the morning. I was getting a little lost in the sauce. It's Thursday. You saw me do some things yesterday, but I didn't really speak. I didn't feel like speaking. I did read a decent amount yesterday. I had to go back and do all the math because I was getting lost in the sauce, but I have it all figured out. So we started on Tuesday. I read 53 pages of various books. On Wednesday, I read 102 pages of various books. I probably discussed it. Now, yesterday, I read. Oh, last night I had such a good night. I was watching TV. I turned it off at 8. I did a little yoga. I took a shower and I was in bed at 9:30, journaled, ready to read. And so I read this book, The Second Amendment by Michael Waldman. I read 32 pages of this. And I am done with the third chapter. Moving and grooving on that one. And then I read on my Kindle Local Heavens. I read 24 pages. I only read a couple chapters. Okay, I can't pick that up. It's back there. And then I've already read this morning because, of course, I woke up in the middle of the night like I always do around 2 a.m. And then by 3:30, I was like, okay, I'm not falling asleep anytime soon. So I read a few chapters of, again, Local Heavens on my Kindle. I read 26 pages. I did fall back asleep, and then I did sleep through my alarm. So, if any of you guys were wondering. But I have my oatmeal, and I have my coffee right here. I like to pick a mug that I want to make. This is what I want to feel like today. A little funky, a little abrasive, a little me. I think I'm going to set a timer for 2 hours and crank through all of my work, and then I think I'm just going to hang out for the rest of it. It's fucking freezing outside in Chicago. It's -9 right now. I'm sure the wind chill is like -20. So that's really cool. I have plans tonight, so I'm actually going outside, which is such a bummer that it's so cold. Okay, so remember yesterday when I said that after work I was going to read a little bit? I didn't do that. I sat on my couch, I took a nap, and then I sat on TikTok for about an hour before I went out to dinner with my friends. And then I got home at like midnight. So the extent of my reading yesterday was just the 26 pages of Local Heavens. But today is a Saturday, which means we have the whole day ahead of us. It's 10:30. I'm going to make a coffee. I'm going to drink some more water. And then we can see what we can do for the rest of the day. I'm more of a coffee and like morning cartoons type of gal. So I might watch Kim Possible for a little bit. And then I'm going to get dressed in sweatpants and a sweatshirt. We can see how much I can read. Maybe I'll do like sprints. I don't know. I think later I meant to film some things last night, but I just forget when I'm out in public, but I'll get there. It's practice makes perfect. I'll get there. One day. I think later I might go to Target. I love a Saturday night errand when nobody else is out. Yeah, those are nice. Friday night errand. Yeah, I love those. So I might do that later. And I think that's going to be the extent of my day. I probably won't go out until like 8 p.m. I'm going to make my coffee and then I'm going to watch Kim Possible for like an hour. Cool. Once again, not being called to be a fitness coach with my lunch, but it's what I was craving. So sue me. So I didn't get a whole lot of reading done today. Frankly, where do I go with this? Where do I start? What do I want to say? Yeah. Ice has been out this weekend. This is the weekend. I don't really know what my schedule for like posting and everything will be, but this is the weekend that a lot of the Minneapolis protests have been going on, and so and I think his name is Alex Preddy, that ICU nurse was literally executed today. Just felt, and I feel like a lot of people feel like this. Like I just spent like all day on social media, not the healthiest. And I kind of was reminded why I deleted it in the first place. I didn't have it for like all of January except for Pinterest and Substack and YouTube. Obviously, I re-downloaded it last week. Okay, so like 2 weeks of January. Anyway, I don't like it because it makes me so angry, and it's not like I don't, being angry about this is so valid. Like this would make me angry anyway. That protests this weekend would make me angry anyway. But then I see people that are like, there was one influencer that was interviewed, and he was like, "You guys need to go get your guns," and I was like, "Hell yeah!" And then I was like, "Whoa!" I just like feel myself getting so riled up. Because I don't necessarily disagree with them, but I won't be doing that. And then I saw another video where this like French reporter was interviewing Black Panther members in Philadelphia who like were also kind of explaining the same sentiment. Again, not that I necessarily disagree with them. That I don't know, it's just a lot. Basically this weekend was just, or like today specifically, me being on my phone and just seeing people, specifically other people's reactions, like get me very angry, or they make me sad, or just like a lot of emotions going on. And then like obviously if you're on any form of social media, you know that it's like ice protest, ice protest, ice protest, beautiful video of a baby and a puppy hanging out together that makes you go tee, ice protest, guy dying, Palestine, blah blah blah. And it's just like fucking whirlwind after whirlwind. And anyway, so I didn't get a lot of reading done. I took a nap. That was a very lovely part of my day. I watched some YouTube videos. I kind of needed a day like that where I was just kind of like doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. I did not go to Target. I don't think that that storm that's also happening this weekend across like kind of the South was supposed to hit Chicago as much, but now it's kind of coming up a little bit, and it did, and it's been snowing tonight, and it's like 5 degrees outside, and so everything I'm sure is ice. And I didn't really feel like, I haven't cleaned off my car in like 2 weeks. My ass was not going to be out there cleaning out my off my car tonight. Hell no. So I'm not doing that. I did read a little bit of The Lottery and Other Stories. Have I read the next three stories? I read The Demon Lover. That one was pretty good. I feel like we're getting into like the eeriness, and like I don't know if this is gonna like progress into like horror. It's gonna be like weird and then a little scary and then like ah. Um, but I do like the way that it's progressing so far. So I read The Demon Lover, and then I read, okay, it was just those two. Yeah. Like Mother Used to Make. That one was also a little like crazy. I might read another story before going to bed. Actually, I don't know. Because I did read a little bit of this. I read about half a chapter. I want to read the next chapter tonight because it's called, I'm going to say this in the other video, but it's called Revolt at Cincinnati. All roads lead to Cincinnati. My neighbor's listening to dubstep. What I really would like to do tonight, and possibly into tomorrow morning, I want to finish Local Heavens really bad. It is 10 p.m. I think I can get it. I don't have a bedtime. That's the beauty of a Saturday. So I do think that I can get a decent amount of it done tonight. And then maybe in the morning finish it while reading or while having my coffee. I think that might be possible. I do have like 120 pages left. Well, if I read like 70 pages tonight, 50 pages in the morning, that might be crazy. We'll see. I want to finish it. Yeah. Have I even said what this book is about? I don't know if I have. Mainly because I don't really know what it's about. So, because I listened to the first like 5 chapters via audio while I was on a walk, and I didn't really know where I was going on the walk, so I wasn't really paying attention. So I don't really know what the purpose of this story is, but basically we're following Nick Carraway. They keep the same character names. There's one that's different. I don't remember Jordan Baker in the original. But we have Nick, we have Jay, we have Daisy, we have Tom, and it's like in this futuristic setting. And Nick works for a big corporation. Oh my god, it literally just sounded like somebody opened my door. I was like, that shit's locked. Anyway. Oh, and I can see it from the mirror in my living room. How convenient. It's like a little spy moment. Anyway, Nick is a like it's so sci-fi. Do I even want to explain it? He's something called a net diver, which I don't understand what it is because again, I missed the first like the most crucial chapters in a book, the beginning. So all I know is that he works this job called a net diver and that it's specialized and that he's very good at it. And he gets contracted by Gatsby to work for Gatsby's company. And for some reason, he's trying to get intel on him. Don't know what that reason is. I just know he's doing it. And while he's doing it, obviously everybody's gay, curious, and fluid. They're all like having like weird erotic tensions with each other. Nick with Jay, that's kind of hot. I want it to happen, even though I guess it's not like canon. Whatever. And then where the fuck was I going with this? Okay, so Nick is a net diver and he's infiltrating Gatsby's company for some reason, and mess ensues. That's really it, actually. Daisy is his cousin. I can't remember if Daisy is Nick's cousin in the original. I haven't read that book since my freshman year of high school, so I barely remember anything about it. I don't think it'll be rated highly by me, and I think that's my own fault because I didn't understand what was going on in the beginning. So, my bad. All of the reviews that I've seen for it are so good too. So I probably should have just gone back and read the rest of it, but I didn't. So now here we are. Yeah, I'll probably cozy up the Kindle tonight with this. I don't think I've given up on the bee sting. Not that I'm DNFing it. I think it's gonna be my focus next week. And I think I'm gonna get it on Kindle. I think that's the only way I'm gonna be able to finish it is if I like read it before bed in the dark. When I first started that book, which have I said what the bee sting is about? I think I kind of did because it's not really about anything. It's about this family in Ireland. Um, and boy, do they have some mess going on. It's like a nuclear family. It opens up with the daughter. She is 17, 16, so naturally she's going through some shit and she thinks that the world is crumbling around her. Valid, been there. There's a little brother who's trying to like mediate his entire family. Their family business is kind of going under. The dad is stressed and avoidant. The mom is trying to push him to ask his dad for money. And again, the boy is trying to mediate all of these people's feelings. And there's no punctuation whatsoever, except for an apostrophe on the word like don't, on like a contraction. But otherwise, there's no quotation marks, there's no periods, there's no question marks, there's no nothing. So it's kind of difficult to read. And for the past like 200 pages, it's been mainly her perspective, which makes it just like hard. But the first 100 pages I read really quickly. And I know that I like the book and I know that I like how like the story is structured and who it's about, and I know that I'm interested. It's just that when I like read her sections, I'm like I have to like really dial in, which isn't necessarily what I want to do all the time. Or if I do, I'm like trying to do it right now with like a book like this. And so I just haven't been picking it up, and I feel like I'd rather finish Local Heavens this week than get a little bit further into both books, if that makes any sense. So that's what I'm gonna do. Also, by the way, I know that my microphone on this like keeps like pop, 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 anytime I move. I don't know how to fix that. Obviously, this microphone just sucks. I changed out like the head part. I used the foam one at first, and then I see people using this microphone online. It is the first one that pops up on Amazon, and I have to use it because I talk really quietly, especially when I'm out by my neighbor. He can hear me. I don't want him to hear me. I'm embarrassed. Sue me, but I don't know how to fix this. So I just apologize. I can't get another one. I don't have the money for that. So this is what we're going to be doing for the rest of. I thought that the chopstick microphone would make it better. I don't think that it has. Maybe it has, but I like not having to hold my hand up here. So we're keeping it. I have like 6 different colors. They'll all pop out eventually. That's it for now. I'm going to finish my CSI episode, take a shower, and then probably make a cup of tea, and then read this chapter of. I wonder how many pages it is. Oh shit. It's like 15 pages. That's not bad. I'll read the 5th chapter of this book before I go to bed and get as far as I can in local heavens in bed before I fall asleep, and then do my bestest to finish it tomorrow. So that's gonna be my night. I didn't even leave the apartment today, but I needed that. That felt good. I felt good doing that. I'll see you in a smidge. It's like 9:20 p.m. on Sunday. I had such a relaxing day. Sorry I didn't keep you updated on anything. I just got home from having pho. We didn't get pho. We had Thai with a friend, and I was gonna film some things, but it was so cold. I couldn't even get my phone out. I just waited for the bus for so long. I don't want to take my coat off or my hat off. But anyway, I did record me cleaning today, so you saw that. And then after that, I did my nails. Blue now, the color of my high school, which every single time I pick this color, I'm like, why did I do that? But then I see it and I'm like, I want to do it again. My hands look like old woman hands because it's so dry and cold outside. And then I did my bullet journal, which I think I also got a little bit of. And then I read. I've been reading Local Heavens all day. I think I can finish it tonight, even though I think I still have like an hour left of the book. But you know how at the end, there's always like 15 minutes left because like they include the acknowledgments and shit like that. So I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna do a whole shebang tonight. I'm gonna do a hair mask and a face mask because it's so cold. I'm gonna have a cup of tea and I'm just gonna go to bed late and finish this book. So I probably won't update you until tomorrow, but I'll calculate how much I read. Oh my god. How much did I read yesterday? Okay, well, the good thing is that I didn't read Local Heavens yesterday. I never did that. You know, when I said I was going to do that last night, I didn't do that. And then I only read Shirley Jackson's book and the Second Amendment, which I need to finish by Tuesday. And I just remember loving it or not. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap everything up here. It's Monday night. I don't think I really filmed a whole lot today. I was just kind of working, just hanging out. I was gonna go to Target and then my landlord had to come change my air filter. So I didn't make that happen. And so yeah, I've just been kind of chilling. Not much different than what I've been doing the last week. But I am going to go over the totals of everything that I read this week. And I did finish Local Heavens last night, so I do have a book to review for you. First, the numbers, if we will. So Saturday, I read 25 pages of The Second Amendment by Michael Waldman. And then I read 32 pages, I think, of The Lottery and Other Stories. I think I read 2 or 3 short stories out of here by Shirley Jackson. That math is not mathing, is it? The total is 57 pages. On Sunday, I wanted to finish Local Heavens, and so I read 131 pages of this, and I did in fact finish it. I'll get back to this in a second. And then today, so far, I have read 7 pages. I read a story from this book, and then I read a chapter of the Second Amendment biography, which brings my total to 22 pages for today. And the weekly total, drumroll please, is 447 pages. That's how much I read over the past week, and I only finished 1 book. I guess that accounts for that entire book. So that kind of makes sense. That was a long book. Yeah, what do I want to review? The stories in this are like getting eerier. They're weird. You're like, ooh, that was funky. But nothing again scary yet. Just a little. What was it? The one that was like Mother used to make, where David makes food for his neighbor and then she like takes over his apartment. That one was funky. And then I just read today, what the hell was this one called? Sorry. Trial by Combat, where the lady was taking things from her room. That one's also scary. Also the fact that like every key in the building opened up every door. I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with that. But I'm enjoying these. They're nice and short. They're like good little, oh, like I'm getting a little tired of staring at my work screen. I'll read a little story from this. I like having this around. Like I was getting tired of sitting at my desk today, so I took 15 minutes and I just, not even like 10 minutes, and I wrote. I did not write these fucking stories. I read one. And it's just a nice little break and I enjoy it. Okay, and then let's talk about Local Heavens. I gave this 3 stars. I don't really know how I feel about it. It was just a little, it's long. I don't want to say I don't think that it needed to be this long because there were things happening the entire time. I just didn't know what those things were. That was my main issue with this book, is I was confused the entire time. Now, if we remember, I did listen to the first chapter, 5 chapters, via audiobook. I wouldn't recommend doing that because I didn't know what the hell was going on the entire time. I liked her writing style. Like I would read another book by this woman again. This one just like, I feel like the whole like acquisition of it all was really confusing to me. Again, probably because I listened to the first 5 chapters, I didn't know which company Nick actually worked for. And I think I was just confused about like all of the different kind of technology that they used, and all of the different companies that they were working with, and like what was legal, what wasn't legal, what are these like mods that you're talking about, what are all of these like robots everywhere. It just like wasn't clicking for me, and I feel like even though new things were introduced, I still did not understand what they were. So that makes me think that maybe it like wasn't the fault of the first 5 chapters, but maybe it was. I read the first chapter physically and then 2 to 5. So those 4 chapters I listened to. And I guess I really fucked myself over with that. I don't know how to describe this book, which is why it's getting 3 stars. It was just kind of like, yeah. At the end, like spoiler alert for a 100-year-old novel, but when Gatsby dies, I was a little sad. I was in my feels a little bit, even though I knew it was coming. I think it was like the manner that it happened and the timing of it happening that like made me feel like there were elements of this book that I really liked. I just was confused the entire time. So I'll clock in with whatever she does next, but this one was just like an okay for me. I feel like her writing style is really like well developed though, for this being her debut novel. Yeah. Yeah. This is her debut novel. She's a writer. Okay, well I like her work. I like her style, just not this one. I'll come back to you, girl. Okay, so now moving on. I don't think I'm actually going to read The Bee Sting until I can get it on Kindle, which I thought that it was available, but I'm on the wait list for Cincinnati's. I might as well just hop on Chicago's too. Why not? Either way, neither of them are available via Kindle at the moment, and I just really don't want to read that book physically, if I'm being completely honest. And so I'm gonna move on to The Fox Wife by Yang Chi Chu. I When I was picking out my next book before Local Heavens, I read the first chapter of that one, this one, and then Victorian Psycho by, couldn't tell ya, Virginia Fato. I think that's her name. This one intrigued me second. That one's still like, Victorian Psycho did get me, but I want to read a fantasy so bad. I'm in the mood. I think it's like maybe magical realism. I mean, she's a fox, so like it's not real. And I've had this book for a while. I've had it since February of 2024, so I've had it for a couple years, and I want to get it done. I've wanted to read it last year. I wanted to read it this year. I wanted to read it the year I got it, and I just haven't. So this is what I'm moving on to. But that's about it. Thanks for hanging out with me for a week. Thanks for watching my first vlog. It's a practice vlog. These weekly vlogs, I'm gonna use them as practice so that I can make the videos that I really want to make, like the gun control one, good and better. Because practice makes perfect, baby. Hopefully, like in time, these become more like interesting and organized and fun for you to watch, I guess. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.